Thank you for joining me for another episode of Medutu Effect. Well, I kind of want to recap on, well, let me back up a little bit. We were on, as the P.A.S.T team, we were on Dave Scott's Spaced Out Radio. We love being on his segments, and he always asks the best questions. But unfortunately, just like the show, we have time restraints. So he asked a very good question, and that question was, why do teams feel like it's important to run in screaming, yelling, disrespecting, and everything else? Our answer was, as a whole, an agreement, was that I've been seeing too much TV. Now, with that being said, keep in mind that TV is there to entertain you. Don't use it as a guidebook. For example, if a construction site, you go by and see them building something, and you're like, wow, I wish I could do that. But you don't realize all the planning that went behind the scenes. All you see is them working and then the finished product. With us, it's the same thing. So don't assume that watching on TV, that is the guidebook on how to be a paranormal investigator. Pretty much so with anything you see on TV, but right now I'm addressing just for the paranormal aspect. So, I want to take you through the steps. It is not as glamorous as you may think. So let's start with number one. We talk to the client, the person, the individual, and communicate. You're going to find that as a constant trend throughout this whole process. So, we talk to the person, we find out what's going on face to face, sometimes through emails and messages, but then we go to the location, and then we sit down and we talk to them, find out what's going on, can you show us, whatnot. We bring some equipment with us, but most of the time, no. Get a feel for the place, what could possibly cause it. So let's start right now. This could be a stopping point for any future investigations, because we may have found super high EMF. We could have found that they have a drug addiction. We found multiple things that could just right away stop the whole investigation. Then we move on. Let's say everything checks out. We're all good. Now let's go to stage 2. The history. Kenton, props. But the whole team gets involved with this. But right now, with Kenton on our team, he does a lot of the research into the history. So now it's fact-finding. Because a lot of times people get wrapped into the tales and the stories and what happened and he said and she said and what caused this, and we want the facts. What was documented throughout history. So, once we get those facts, then we discuss that with the individual that's inquiring. In some cases, we don't want to feed the fire, if you catch my drift. If you find something like multiple murders have happened in this one location, and you tell an individual that, now they could manifest more activity. So these are things that you want to bring up after the fact. You want to let them know the entire history, but you don't want to add to the scenario. Okay, so now we have the facts. We have all the information. Now we actually go to the location, and we plan out where we're going to put all the equipment. What are the hot spots? What's the claim spots? What's even the small ones? Well, nothing really happens in there. I only heard a voice one time. Oh, excuse me? That's kind of important. So we take these different things, and then we plan our investigation. Now, keep in mind, we don't collect money. We don't. We do this on our own time. So all of us have lives. I know. Who would have thunk? So We have to plan time off, childcare, a whole bunch of different things. Then we let the individual know that we can come out during this time frame, which doesn't always work. We have to move it around quite a bit. Then we go to these locations, and then there's setup. During setup, that's when you discover, oh, wait, we may wanted it to be here because we assumed perceptions, previous episodes. Can I do the whole Wayne and Garth thing? Go, oh, the special effects didn't work. Anyway, so we have to move things around drastically. We have powering concerns, safety concerns. It's just a whole lot of different scenarios that can apply to this. So then we turn around, we do the investigation. Now, this could start about 7, 8 o'clock at night and last till about 6 o'clock in the morning. A long night. We're doing spot check reviews throughout the whole night so we can make sure we stay focused on the active areas, but we also take in consideration the other areas. So from there, then becomes the long, drawn process of review. Alyson usually does most of the review on the team, so she literally is sitting there weeks with a set of headphones on, writing on a piece of paper every minute that could or could not be. She doesn't focus on debunking, she focuses on what is seen. Now, after that process, then it comes to me. And now I go through it frame by frame, looking at her timestamps. Sometimes I find additional items. Sometimes I'm able to debunk what she's got. So, and then all that gets put together, and we have to lose a lot because we have a 30-minute episode on Access 7. So, with that being said, we have to say what is the most important impact to convey the message. Now, you're watching a TV show. You watch an hour-long show or 30-minute show. If all that was crammed into a show, you would never watch it. Just be blunt. It would be very boring. If you saw the many hours of Monster Energy drinks and just staring at a monitor and the homework and the research and the many hours that are put in reviewing every piece of footage. So, don't use these shows as a guidebook. It applies to pretty much everything. You see the guy going out into the wilderness and he's doing a whole survival mode. Don't think he hasn't mapped that out. Just saying. There's also a lot of background research. Individuals on the team, we're always researching and learning on our own accord so we can add to the focus of the team. So people that go into these homes and they're screaming, "Demon, show yourself, must come out." Then we have those individuals that turn around and want to mock and instigate and anger. Personally, if you come into my house and you want to be rude and obnoxious, you're going to have to leave. I'm going to make sure of it. So, it doesn't matter if you're a ghost hunter, practitioner, building a house. You do your homework first. Then you explore the potentials. And that kind of gets into the whole being respectful, no matter what. As anybody knows me, knows I'm not a fan of the term ghost hunter. Because at the end of the day, my goal is to communicate. Doesn't matter with what, whether it's with you or an individual sitting on a bench at a hotel in Toronto. I don't like the term ghost hunting. If you want me to ghost hunt, that kind of puts me in a very limited bandwidth that I can look. So a person that says that they're a ghost hunter and that's all they'd want to do, that's awesome. But I want to look beyond those boundaries and look at many other options. So, major shout out to Dave Scott, and just wanted to tell him thank you for that opportunity and the other opportunities that we've had to be on the show. But due to the time restraints, I want to exaggerate more on why people act this way. Why you see them coming in. If you have a paranormal investigator coming into your home screaming and hollering, ask them where their research has come from. I guarantee you they're going to turn to a channel. So, thank you again. Another episode of Limited to Effect.